Recently, I had the wonderful opportunity to teach at Teach Rhymes with Beach with Melanie Mayer, and my session was about take the arg out of argument. I really felt like there was so much information in here and so many people that collaborated with me to make a really good product that could help kids and teachers that I don't know, why not put on the pirate uniform and make a little video? So here we are. Thank you to Gretchen Burnaby, Richard Jester, and Jennifer Apple. Now, let's go deeper into what we're doing and why the parrot metaphor is such a good one for argument, other than the pun. For example, moving eye patches is kind of like moving through the modes and through a continuum of exposition to persuasion. Um, I didn't really know why pirates had eye patches. I thought that they didn't have an eyeball because they'd been poked out during a sword fight or something. So, one of the things is that it was a sunglass to help avoid some of the reflections from the water. But another thing is if you were up on top of the water, on top of the deck, and then you had to go below, this eye would have already been used to the dark, and you could really get into what was going on and have more of an advantage, especially if you were trying to fight somebody. Um, Another one that I found that was hilarious is that if they were drinking a little bit too much, they could cover one eye and they could focus better if they had been drinking too much rum. They also say that it made for good sympathy with the ladies when they went out to shore leave. So, what does this have to do with argument? Well, really, when we look at argument and persuasion, that's a big change that we have in our standards, and it was purposeful. We wanted to make sure that kids had the ability to think and reason from things that they had read in a way that help them make decisions about the things that they needed to do and the contributions that they needed to make to society. So, Jennifer Apple, I'll put this link in the video. She did some research and collated everything into this beautiful synthesis of what are the key differences and why do each of them matter. We'll dig into that together as well. I also want to look at the argumentative continuum. And my friend Richard Jester, I call him my insultant, he's really good at boiling down what the key problem is and how to make it simple and easy for people to understand. And this is what he says is that in one mode, it's like a nerd. And I reckon this to my son, JJ, who loved dinosaurs. He could tell you everything about them, what they ate, where they lived, how they died. He could tell you everything about it. He was just this enormous, joyful recitation of information. And his use of that knowledge, what he wanted to do is just have that information available and share that because he enjoyed it so much. He wanted that data to give information. It was almost encyclopedic. So this type of writing, it's informational, it's exposition that we had before. But when we move into a new one, this is a teacher. They probably have the same body of knowledge and the same information as a nerd does, but their motivation for how they're putting those things together is very different. They're on a quest for truth to look at what are the ideas out there and how can we use them and explain them in such a way that others can use to make decisions. Um, at this point, whenever the teacher or the researcher or the writer that is moving toward argument, they've really done a lot of thinking about all kinds of things and the different sides and perspectives that can be taken about that topic. And what they wanted to do is they came to a conclusion based on their research and their thinking, and they want to defend a position based on the knowledge that they've acquired through all of their studies and thinking. This mode of writing is called argument. When we move deeper into another type of person is the salesman. Now, this person probably has all of the same knowledge base as anyone else, but it's less important about what knowledge they're using because they're only using what they need to make the sale. They want to change the minds, they want to use opinions and the motivations to try to get what they want out of the conversation. Sometimes they're going to omit particular pieces of information or they're going to emphasize particular points about the vehicle that they think will meet the needs of the client. Some car salesmen, they have a bad rap because they've been known to use manipulative techniques or logical fallacies that cause people to make decisions that maybe they would not have made had they known both sides or other issues surrounding that particular sale. This is persuasion when they're trying to get you to act or do or think or believe something else. But there's something more sinister. The dictator. They have information, but they may or may not know because that's not really their motivation. Their motivation is to control others and to gain power. And their use of knowledge is going to change. They may withhold information or they may manipulate facts or even make things up that are completely untrue. This is called propaganda, and it is clearly something that we need to be aware of at what mode along the continuum we are reading or writing, and what our purposes are and what the purposes of others are as we look into those issues. So, understanding that argumentative continuum is critical to moving forward and teaching the differences between persuasion and argument. So, let's think about what kind of pirates we want to be as we are working through argument. Um, Here's one right here: Skittles and M&Ms. What I'd like for you to do is think about which one is better and how do you know? And so I'd like for you to stop for a minute and have the QA 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dialogue with yourself. Which one is better, Skittles or M&Ms? The next one will be, well, M&Ms are better. And so the other part of yourself, well, how do you know? Huh? What does that mean? And you follow the entire sequence through here. Take a moment now to walk yourself through the conversation or dialogue with someone else. Here's the conversation I had with myself. So what candy is better? Well, M&Ms are better than Skittles. Well, how do you know? Well, they're my personal favorite. Research from YouGov points out that 85% of Americans surveyed choose M&Ms, while only 65% Americans choose Skittles. What does that mean? Well, I'm in the majority of folks in their view of the popularity of M&Ms. More people prefer M&Ms than Skittles. I'm in good company. How else do you know? Another survey was repeated, and a study found out that 55% of 166 participants chose M&Ms, barely beating 54% of folks who chose Reese's, Kit Kat, and landed at 50% for Snickers, and I think at 48. Hershey bars were 44, Twix was 42, and Skittles was only 29. Well, what does that mean? Well, when you look at the commonalities, the general things that came to the top of the list were all chocolate. So your answer is what? I'm in pretty good company with folks who love chocolate, and M&Ms are a great, excellent source of chocolate consumption. So when we think about that, what might that look like in paragraph form? What we see now is this is really starting to shape up just with those simple questions about what was better and how do you know and what does it mean, really put together a powerful paragraph. Now I can use looping to elaborate as well. If I want to make some better, deeper, more developed paragraphs. So you see right here, I put more people prefer M&Ms than Skittles. So I took more people because I thought that that number of people was really critical here. When more people prefer something, that's a general indicator of quality. So now I'm taking the quality word and I'm using that to make a new sentence. Since more people chose M&Ms, this chocolate confection, M&Ms, is better than Skittles. I can do the same thing with the second paragraph, but I think you get the point. All that is needed now is to add an introduction and conclusion. So I think about selecting the best treats so I can be the it house for Halloween and the trick-or-treaters. And I add a conclusion that puts all of those things together. Now I have a completely new paper that puts everything together in an extended constructed response that is connecting one idea to the other with inter-sentence coherence, and it moves from one point to the other, answering the question of what's better. Now, we need to move this into the changes that we have to make because of STAR. And what we want to do is think about what kind of pirates we want to be. I'll tell you more about that and collecting data in the next video.